Okay guys, so before we move on to the equations we're going to look at today, we just need to recap what we know about fractions. So if you've got 1/3, what would you have to multiply 1/3 by to make a whole one? So remember that a third means that our whole one has been broken into 3 equal pieces. How many of those 3 equal pieces would we need to make the whole one? We can count this up: 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. We can stop now because 3/3 is a whole one. So we can multiply 1/3 by 3 to make a whole one. What would we multiply a quarter by to make a whole one? Again, we can count it up. Some of you will already know, but 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and I'm going to stop there because 4/4, 4 out of 4, is a whole one. It's the whole thing. So we'd have to multiply a quarter by 4 to get to a whole one. Just pause the video, guys, and have a think about what you think we're going to multiply a tenth by to get to a whole one. Okay guys, hopefully you've had a go at that now. A tenth, we would need 10 tenths to make a whole one. Okay, because our whole thing has been split up into 10 equal parts, so we need all 10 of those equal parts to have the original whole thing. If 1/10 times 10 gives us 1, what do you think that 2/10 times 10 might give us? So the answer, guys, is going to be 2. 1/10 times 10 is 1. 2/10 times 10 is 2. If we know that 1/4 times 4 is 1, 3/4 times 4 is going to be what? What do you think, guys? So hopefully we're seeing that 3/4 is 3 times as big. We're timesing by the same number, so our answer is going to be 3 times as big. Okay, so we can kind of use that calculation there to help us with this. So the next thing we need to look at okay, is notation. So x over 3, okay, means you've got x shared into 3 equal parts, which is the same as saying x divided by 3. If you want to share x into 3 equal parts, you can also multiply it by a third, because finding a third of a number finds 3 equal parts that make that number. So these 3 notations here, these 3 ways of writing the same term there, they are all the same thing, they just look different. Dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by a third. These two show a division, this shows a multiplication. Okay? Now, I want you to look back at these questions. Okay? We have got x over 3. Okay? We want to get to x. What are we going to times x over 3 by to get back to 1 whole x? Think about what we multiplied 2/10 by to get to 2, 3/4 by to get to 3, 1/10 by to get to 1. We are going to multiply x over 3 by 3 to get back to the whole thing. And hopefully that makes sense. If you've divided something by 3, to get back to the original number, you would times by 3. If we divide 15 by 3, we get 5. To get back to 15, we would have to multiply 5 by 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Again, guys, pause the video. What do you think we're going to multiply x over 10 by to get back to having just 1 whole x? Okay, guys, hopefully you've had a little go at that one. You've paused the video. X over 10, we would have to multiply it by 10 to get back to having a whole x. X over 10 is the same as sharing x into 10 different equal parts. We want all of those parts, so we want all 10 of those parts to make a whole one. Okay. So guys, we've got some examples here about how that's going to work with solving equations, okay? Now remember, when we are solving an equation, all we are trying to do is find out what 1 whole x is equal to. So if we had 3x is equal to something, we would have divided both sides of the equation by 3 to get down to 1 whole x. If we had 6x is equal to something, we would have divided by 6 because we wanted to get from having 6 lots of x down to 1 lot of x. Now we've got x over 4 is equal to 3. I want to get to a whole amount of x, okay? That's what I'm aiming to get to. So if x is being divided by 4, to get back to having a whole amount of x, I'm going to have to multiply it by 4. And what I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other. And so we get x over 4 times 4 is equal to 3 times 4. Again, remember guys, this is the line here that you don't necessarily have to write if you're feeling confident, but if you are trying to build confidence, I would recommend writing in that line. This is just going to leave us with x, because dividing by 4 and then timesing by 4, they cancel each other out. And then 3 times 4 is going to give you 12. And so your answer is x is equal to 12. Guys, could you now have a go at this example and see what answer you get? Pause the video. Okay guys, hopefully you've had a good go at that. We have shared x into 3 equal parts. So to make x whole again, okay, we're going to have to multiply by 3. And if we multiply one side of the equation by 3, we must do the same to the other. So we've got x over 3 times by 3 is equal to 3 times by 3. If we divide by 3 and then times by 3, it's going to cancel out, okay? So we're going to end up with x, and 3 times 3 is 9. So hopefully you got x is equal to 9. Right guys, next example here, okay, starting to look a little bit like the equations we've been solving, except we've got that division in there rather than 8x plus 1 is equal to something, and so on. Okay, so this is the part that I want to isolate, okay, because they are still my unknowns, okay? Rather than having 10x or 5x, I've got x over 4, which is a quarter, lots of x. So this is the bit I want to deal with. I am adding 1, okay? To deal with the fact that I am adding 1, okay, to eliminate this part of my equation, I would subtract 1. And if I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. So we get x over 4, add 1, take 1, is equal to 13, take 1. Okay? Now, again, you don't need to write this line down if you're feeling comfortable, but then likewise, if you are building confidence, get it written down. It's a good middle step. It's a good crutch. X over 4, add 1, take 1 is just x over 4. 13, take 1 is 12. Now, at this point, guys, when you're doing these questions today, some of you are going to tell me that x is equal to 3, okay? Because you are going to make a mistake, a really common mistake, okay? I'm pointing it out now so that you don't. Because if you get the answer x is equal to 3, you are telling me that we need to divide both sides by 4, and that isn't the case. Dividing this by 4 won't leave you with 1x, okay? It would actually leave you with x over 16, but we don't need to get into that now, okay? We want to get to 1 whole x. We've currently got x shared into 4 equal parts. We need all 4 of those equal parts, so we're going to multiply by 4. So you get x over 4 times by 4 is equal to 12 times by 4. Dividing by 4 and timesing by 4 cancel each other out. 12 times 4 is 48, and that's your answer. Okay guys, x can be a big number. That's absolutely fine. I know we're used to it being 2 or 5 or 6 or so on, okay, but it can be 48. That's not a problem. Could you pause the video, guys, and have a go at this one? Be very careful. There is one slight difference between my question and yours. I hope you spot it. Okay guys, I'm going to quickly go through the answer now. I'm going to highlight the key difference, and it's there. Okay, your example has a subtraction in it. We need to go back to what we were doing yesterday to remember, the previous lesson, to remember what to do with this. So, this is the bit that we want to isolate, so we're going to have to deal with this bit. Subtracting 1 wouldn't get rid of it. Okay, we know that from the last lesson. Subtracting 1 wouldn't get rid of that, so we're going to have to add 1 to both sides. So we get x over 4, take 1, add 1, is equal to 15, add 1. Taking 1 and adding 1 cancel themselves out, which just leaves us with x over 4 is equal to 16. We can go back here now and do this step again. We've got x over 4 is equal to 12. So let's just multiply both sides of our equation by 4. Okay, because we don't want x broken into 4 pieces. We want the whole thing. So x over 4 times 4 is equal to 16 times 4. Dividing by 4, timesing by 4, they will cancel each other out. 16 times 4 is 64. So hopefully you got that as your answer. And again, x can be a big number, guys. It's not a problem. Right, guys, the last types of questions that we're going to be looking at in this lesson are questions that look like this. Okay? Now, we want to find out what a single x is. Okay? Now, there is a way of getting from 2/3 x or 2x over 3 to a whole x. There is a way of doing that in just one step, but I think that it can make quite a difficult calculation to do. So we're going to look at doing it in 2 steps, okay? So the first thing we're going to address is the fact that we're dividing by 3, okay? We are going to start off by trying to find out what 2x is equal to, and when we know what 2x is equal to, we can find what 1x is equal to, okay? So, I'm going to deal with this in exactly the same way I was dealing with it in the other equations, okay? I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 3. And then, I'm just going to work through that. So if we divide by 3, then times by 3, we're just going to be left with 2x. And then we're going to be left with 12 here. Now guys, if you know that 2x is equal to 12, some of you will know straight away now that the answer is going to be x is equal to 6. Okay? But we've got 2 lots of x, we want 1 lot of x, so we need to half it. 2x divided by 2 is equal to 12 divided by 2, so we get x is equal to 6. Okay? Last one for you guys to have a go at. Could you please have a go at this one, guys? Pause the video, have a go. Okay, guys, I'm going to run through this one pretty quickly then. So, we're going to deal with this division here first, okay? We've got 3x, and then we're dividing it by 2. So let's just find out what 3x is going to be first, okay? And if we've divided by 2, to get back to the whole amount, we're going to multiply by 2. So, 3x over 2 times by 2 is equal to 6 times by 2. They are going to cancel because we're halving it and then we're doubling it. We're dividing by 2, then we're multiplying by 2. Try it with any number, you'll get back to your starting point. They cancel each other out. So we're going to have 3x is equal to 12. And you know what to do when you're at this stage, guys. We've got 3 lots of x. We only want 1 lot of x, so we're going to divide it by 3. Okay, which just gives us x is equal to 4. Okay,